Chapter 8:21. Leave the Circe Island. Elder He and Xianxia sat together in that old temple, and in front of them was the detailed information on Jian Wushuang. Hump. I believed Jian Wushuang must possess an extraordinary background. Now, he turns out to be a person of narrow view who left his sect for an adventure. Xianxia snorted when reading Jian Wushuang's information. I've never heard of the ancient sect he's from. This sect is indeed a strong force in his territory, but compared to the sects in the eternal world, it's of a low tier. Elder, he commented. I misunderstood him just as you. I contributed his strong power to his background, but since it's not true, the only excuse must be that he is highly talented. I agree. He is a real genius, and in terms of talent, he may be even more outstanding than your big brother. Are you serious? He is no match for my brother, said Xianxia scornfully. All right. Since he has no lavish, astonishing background, you can kill him with nothing to fear. But, for your fame, you'd better kill him somewhere out of Circe Island and not expose yourself, said Elder He. I see, Xianxia nodded, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Seeing this, Elder He forced a smile before continuing reading Jian Wushuang's information. Well, this boy's master seems to be an unusual man. As an Eternal Realm expert, he teaches 3 Dao master students, and one of them entered Void Temple. Yeah, there is something interesting about this man, but his 3 Dao master students you mentioned are quite common, and the one who entered Void Temple is unknown there. Elder He shook his head and paid no attention to this matter. In fact, the person who entered Void Temple they talked about was Xianxia, and he commanded respect. He was one of the 18 masters of the Void Temple, the famous Master Bloodsaber. He had been misunderstood because he trained in a low profile in the temple and seldom mentioned his master Xianxia. Besides, the temple was a real overlord in the eternal world and was highly revered, so the information on it had always been a secret. As a result, during the last several days, the Xia clan failed to learn Xianxia was the Master Bloodsaber. Jian Wushuang stayed on Circe Island after he defeated Xianxia for Lin Wan. It was hard for him to meet Xianxia again, thus, he spent a half-month together talking about their old days. Later, he decided to leave and say goodbye. His next destination was Tang of the East. Since his primary mission on Circe Island Kill Su Ming was done, it was time to leave. Third brother, you go to Tang of the East first, and while later when I'm no longer busy, I'll go there and find you. By then, you, big brother Wang Yuan and I can have some time together again, Xianxia said to Jian Wushuang with a smile on the day the latter left. It's a deal. Big brother and I will wait there for you. Jian Wushuang smiled back at him. Swordsman. Lin Wan's soft voice echoed as she appeared in a green dress to say goodbye to Jian Wushuang. Thank you so much for helping me before, she added. Please take care during your following journey because it seems Xianxia will not drop the matter easily. Understood. Thank you. Jian Wushuang nodded at her. This is my message token. After you leave the island, send me a message whenever you run into trouble, and I'll send someone there to help you. While saying this, Lin Wan handed Jian Wushuang a message token. Thanks again. Jian Wushuang said. Oh, by the way, I have another thing to tell you, Lin Wan continued. Last time when you asked me about Sister Shuang, I told you that she had been poisoned and that the doctors could do nothing to help her at that time. I heard her condition worsens as of late. She stays in her palace in the Tang of the East all the time. Years earlier, I still could meet her when I visited her palace with my father, but recently, I didn't see her even once there. On hearing those words, Jian Wushuang's expression suddenly changed. Poisoned. By icy heart poison. Jian Wushuang clenched his hand when the idea caught him. It was not the first time that he knew Lin Rushuang was penetrated by the icy heart poison. In fact, when still in the ancient world, she had once asked him for help removing the poison out of her. However, at that time, he only managed to remove a very small amount of the poison, which helped her little. The poison must have gone much deeper into her body. I have to find her as sooner as possible. Some old memory rushed back to him. At that time, I was in a low realm and could not really help her. But now, I've reached the divine realm. I may not be able to cure her, but I can at least prevent it from growing worse. Second brother, Miss Wanna, it's getting late and I must take my leave. Jian Wushuang folded his hands and turned away. As soon as Jian Wushuang started off, the man who kept watch on him immediately sent a message back to Xianxia about his leave. Ha ha, Jian Wushuang, at long last, you left the island. Having received the message, Xianxia let out overjoyed laughter in his temple. For fear of provoking gossip, I did not kill you on the island. But, as long as you're killed outside here, no one will suspect me of your death. Xianxia clenched his fists, and a sharp glint crossed his eyes. You two, follow me. He ordered 2 guards in silver beside him. Those 2 men were in charge of protecting him, and they exchanged glances after hearing his words. One of them questioned gingerly, Master, should we inform Elder He of our plan before we exit? No, we needn't. Xianxia shook his head. Chapter 822, The Retaliation. Xianxia paused for a while before continuing in an undertone. Elder He discussed some important issues with His Excellency for those days. We shouldn't bother him. Moreover, Jian Wushuang is in the divine realm, thus, with you two helping me, his death is assured. The 2 guards nodded in approval. Obviously, they were confident in their power. After all, they were in the 6 steps of the eternal realm. In no time, Xianxia departed with the 2 guards. They followed Jian Wushuang in secret. In the void tens of thousands of kilometers away from Circe Island, the black-robed Jian Wushuang walked forward alone, long sword strapped across his back. After he crossed the vast land below him, he arrived in the Tang of the East. Right then, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 figures approached him from behind at an amazing speed. 2 of them moved especially fast that the next moment Jian Wushuang saw them, they stood in front of him. Finally, you've come. Jian Wushuang crossed his arms, not surprised at the sudden arrival of the 2 men one bit. Swordsman. An icy voice of malice echoed behind Jian Wushuang. The slower of the 3 figures arrived as well. Jian Wushuang turned back only to see Xianxia stand nearby with a grim smile on his face. Seeing him, Jian Wushuang smirked. He expected Xianxia, who had always been a vengeful man, would not concede seeking revenge. He also knew that it was because he had been on Circe Island during the last half a month that Xianxia took no action. Now, since he left the island, Xianxia no longer need wait. For what reason do you stand in my way, sir? Jian Wushuang asked while looking at Xianxia with a twitching, faint smile. What do you think it might be? Xianxia's voice chilled the air. Half a month ago, you humiliated me in front of so many people, and do you really believe I'll let you go after doing such a heinous act? Heh! Who would have thought the second master of the Xia clan would be such a narrow-minded man? Jian Wushuang said, then continued smiling. He looked towards the 2 men in silver and asked, Are these 2 gentlemen your guards? Exactly. My father has them follow me. And guess what? They are both in the 6 steps of the eternal realm. Xianxia answered. He not only confirmed the 2 men's identities but also revealed their power. The 6 steps of the eternal realm. Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed slightly. With each step in the eternal realm more powerful than the prior one, the 6 steps made a huge difference when compared to the 5 steps. Now, Jian Wushuang faced 2 experts at such an absurd level. Luckily, I've restrained my power when I fought Xianxia on the blood battle arena, which made him think I was in the 5 steps. Otherwise, he would have brought more than 2 guards here to kill me. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang could not help but smile. Among all the experts in the Xia clan, he feared Elder He the most. If he were to battle this elder at that moment, he would definitely lose. Regarding Xianxia not asking the elder, but instead the 2 guards for help, Jian Wushuang believed he could handle them on his own. Jian Wushuang did not inform them with his true intentions, but said, brought 2 experts in the 6 steps of the eternal realm here to kill me? Xianxia, you really think too highly of me. Jian Wushuang sneered and a glint of malice flashed in his eyes. It seems as though I must die here today. Of course. Xianxia said in a deep voice, nowadays, everyone in the eternal world speaks of you as the #1 divine realm expert, But a dead man does not deserve that honor. I will claim this title after I kill you. Finally, I knew what means you kept your title as the #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world. Jian Wushuang sneered in disdain. Seeing that, Xianxia echoed coldly, "What can you do even knowing this? Don't tell me you intend on surviving today." "Is that so?" Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows at those words. With no more talk exchanged, he pulled out the message token he received from Lin Wan. They were not far from Circe Island, so, if he relayed a message to Lin Wan asking for assistance, there would be someone on their way soon. However, when Jian Wushuang tried to do so, he found his message could not exit the void where it resided. "What goes on?" he asked in confusion. "Ha, ha." Seeing Jian Wushuang's reaction, Xianxia bellowed, "Swordsman, you honestly believe I came here to kill you without added precautions? I knew that the bitch Lin Wan cared for you and gave you her message token before leaving. Therefore, just in case, I set up a restriction covering this area while I conversed with you. This restriction is a Dao master's work and severs the connections between its inside and outside. That's to say, at this moment in this void, your message token doesn't work. No one will come to save you." "Really?" Jian Wushuang furrowed his brow. He put the token back in his interspatial ring and smiled again and said, "Xianxia, it seems I've underestimated you. You are more cunning than I've believed. Kill him." Xianxia's frosty voice spurred his guards to arms. He ran out of patience and desired no more idle chat. Taking his order, the guards' eyes flickered as they charged Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang stood still, looking at the guards coldly. If what Xianxia said is true, he can't send out a message either. In order to help Lin Wan, I stepped onto the blood battle arena to fight him. But I didn't mean to humiliate him at that time. I thought it a temptation to him and the Xia clan. But now, since he courts death, I'm not the one at fault." Jian Wushuang roared in an inaudible manner. An overwhelming killing intent lurched up high behind him like a tidal wave of hatred. At the same time, with a buzz of his bloodline power, his body grew at a tremendous speed, and the next second he transformed into a 15-meter gold-armored ancient god. In one of his hand, he gripped an extended red sword about 12 meters in length. The Blood Mountain Sword. Since he faced 2 experts in 6 steps of the Eternal Realm, he decided to go all out. Chapter 823, Fight with 6 steps of the Eternal Realm experts. The gold-armored ancient god Jian Wushuang transformed held the Blood Mountain Sword, his overbearing aura making him look like the lord of the world. The guards flinched in surprise by Jian Wushuang's aura, but continued rushing him. They never met any divine realm expert with an aura as domineering this one. However, as experts in 6 steps of the Eternal Realm, they were unaffected by it. "Go to hell!" The guards yelled one after the other, and attacked Jian Wushuang from the left and right simultaneously. One of them held a long gold spear, and as the spear shined like a dragon dashing out to sea, air-piercing, frightening sounds echoed. The other one brandished a long black whip, which looked more like a black snake. It lashed at Jian Wushuang's throat in a strange way as if it to garrote him. Neither guard restrained their power. Their moves fully demonstrated their strength. Seeing the moves, Jian Wushuang was not fearful, but excited. The next second, a red cloud floated out of his sword as he leaped. Bam! The void suffered a sudden shake. Jian Wushuang's sword stabbed straight to meet the spear and whip. How could a divine realm expert not retreat when facing the attacks of 2 6 steps of the Eternal Realm experts? You want to fight blow for blow. How dare you? You court death. Seeing Jian Wushuang's move, the guards strengthened their attacks. Clang! Thwack! 2 dull, crashing sounds vibrated and echoed through the air. Jian Wushuang stepped back and leaped forward again. His sword struck twice. 2 sword lights flashed away at once. The strikes appeared simple, but were subtly exquisite. So much so, the 2 guards could not help hiding the impressed wide eyes. This body blocked our attacks. Yeah, and more than that, he fought back so quickly. The 2 guards wore surprised looks on their faces while talking. They effortlessly warded off Jian Wushuang's exquisite blows. However, Jian Wushuang charged at them again. In a split second, they closed the distance and resumed fighting. Clang! 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 The continuous crashing sounds deafened everything throughout their deathmatch, and seemingly exchanged 100 blows. Yet, no sign showed that Jian Wushuang was overpowered. How could it be possible? Xianxia thought, watching with an agape jaw. The two guards must have felt the same. He produced a close battle against us. Make no mistake. This boy is in the 6 steps as well. One of the guards shouted. He restrained his power on the blood battle arena last time. The other guard echoed with a grave expression. There is something wrong with my spear. The spear guard glanced down at his weapon in shock. There is a damage to my spear. His sword is peculiar. So was my whip. The two guards gazed at Jian Wushuang's blood mountain sword. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang smiled coldly, yet confidently. The sword in his hand was crafted by his master, Xianxia, and possessed incredible might. In terms of battle strength, Jian Wushuang was in the 5 steps. However, with the power of the blood mountain sword, he exerted the power of a 6 steps expert. Apart from that, he was proficient at close combat and fighting out a besiege. Therefore, even under the 2 6 steps expert's fury, he stood his ground. Most of all, the blood mountain sword's toughness and sharp edge broke off Lei Xin's magic weapon with 5 strikes. The two guards' weapons were at the same level as the magic weapon, and though Jian Wushuang was less powerful than the two guards, he had only managed to cause a slight crack on the guards' weapons after 100 blows. If the two guards were in 5 steps, he would have broken their weapons long ago. This boy is really unusual. Let's end this fight quickly, the spear guard said to his companion icily. The next moment, his aura surged, and his body expanded in width, his muscles bulged and his silver clothes ripped. In an instant, he looked like a feral beast. The same thing happened to the other guard. They appeared far more powerful than before. Are they displaying a secret skill? Jian Wushuang thought, snickering out loud. Although he knew he was correct. They must have displayed a secret skill to reform their bodies and increase their power. Howl! One of the guards roared, and immediately dived at Jian Wushuang again. Seeing that the guards moved faster than before, Jian Wushuang pointed his sword defensively. It has been difficult for me to battle them before they used this secret skill. Now, it will prove even more difficult. I am no longer their match. Jian Wushuang shook his head and gulped. The next second, he waved his hand and a flowing light flashed through the air. The light turned into a strong-built puppet fighter in the blink of an eye. Faceless, the puppet rushed the two guards. At the same time, about 1,000,000 divine gems were consumed inside the interspatial ring on his right index finger as he clenched his right hand, punching the guards with that power. An earth-shattering blow with the power of the superior 6 steps behind it. The two guards were the targets. The two remained calm, staring down the blow. They could tell it was powerful, but were unafraid. They swung their weapons at the puppets in unison. Boom! A thunderclap echoed all around. Where the sound came from, the void cracked like a glass window. Chapter 824, The First Streak of Sword Essence. Whoosh! Whoosh! The two guards hurtled back almost at the same time. How could this be? This puppet fighter is really powerful. They all wore wide eyes and agape jaws as they looked on in shock. They went all out and joined their hands, but were still frustrated by the fist. This puppet fighter's power far exceeded their expectations. While the puppet fighter battled the two guards, Jian Wushuang turned to deal with Xianxia. Phew! He charged Xianxia like a huge magic sword, piercing through the void. A sliver of dark gold light flashed in his eyes as he looked at him. You wish me dead. But I'd love to witness who the dead one will truly be. As Jian Wushuang growled, his killing intent enveloped Xianxia. Shit! Xianxia grimaced with a gloomy expression when seeing this. Despite his insatiable desire to kill Jian Wushuang, he admitted that he was no match for him. Back then on the blood battle arena, Jian Wushuang defeated him with 3 weak strikes. Now, If Jian Wushuang went all out, he would be killed without question. Xianxia remained calm at such a critical point and took out a copper sheet. The copper sheet looked normal, however, as he squeezed it tightly, the copper twisted and released an enormous power. Kaboom! The sky darkened and all the nearby creatures trembled. The power all flowed to one place in the air, forming a huge bronze palm. The palm was so large that it covered half of the area and seemed able to destroy everything there. Hidden behind the palm, Xianxia looked at Jian Wushuang with a ferocious smile while reflecting. I had thought that those two guards could kill you all by themselves, but I didn't expect your trump card, the puppet fighter. Now, I've shown you my trump card as well. You must feel proud. Go kill him. As Xianxia hollered the order in a low voice, the bronze palm immediately fell toward Jian Wushuang, crushing the void and everything in its path. Where it passed, space burst, causing a spatial turbulence in a large area. Is this a Dao Master's power? Jian Wushuang swallowed hard while staring at the palm. It was so large and powerful that Jian Wushuang felt himself a tiny ant before an elephant. Its power paralyzed him. His power lives up to his status as the second master of the Xia clan. Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed in a chilling manner, managing to remain calm. There was never a time when he did not take it for granted that Xianxia, the second master of the Xia clan, owned a life-saving item. He witnessed him eliminate an emperor weapon before. Therefore, it was certain that a person who possessed an emperor weapon would have some life-saving items. It's time to use my life-saving item. Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed even more as he took out a token. He received the token from his master, Xianxia, and inside it resided 3 streaks of sword essence. Using his will, he got hold of the first streak of sword essence. Then, it will be a battle between your palm and my sword essence. Jian Wushuang ground his teeth. Just as the bronze palm was about to fall and crush him, a slight echo of the sword sounded. Following that, a dazzling sword light flashed where he stood. The light was thin and short, about 2 meters in length. However, there lay a formidable power behind it. The light shot forward and cut the void open, leaving a black gap. At an amazing speed, it hit right at the palm, behind which was the full power of a Dao Master. A loud slashing sound echoed throughout the place when the light cut the palm into 2 parts down the middle. From the cut, a great amount of power radiated wildly toward the surroundings. The light was not weakened after it hit the palm, it came slashing toward Xianxia under Jian Wushuang's will. Sheeing. The light was blindingly fast. It slashed through Xianxia's body before he could react. He remained what he looked like before, only his bulged eyes were full of horror and disbelief. Making a life-saving item and storing power in it was very hard, therefore, Xianxia's copper sheet proved extremely precious. It had taken a powerful Dao Master in his clan a lot of time to make it at a cost. Though some power had been lost during its storage, the power it released rivaled that of a Dao Master. His father gave him this precious thing with the hope it could save his life someday in an emergency. That was the only life-saving item he owned despite his noble background. He never dreamed that Jian Wushuang's life-saving item was much more powerful than his. So much more powerful, in fact. The power behind that light could overpower a Dao Master easily. After crumbling the bronze palm, it killed Xianxia, and even after that, the light still radiated a mighty power. Under Jian Wushuang's will, the sword light flashed toward the 2 guards. Who created this sword light? With this question, Xianxia lost the last trace of his consciousness. The second master of the Xia clan, the former #1 divine realm expert in the eternal world, died. Chapter 8:25 Fury. Second Master. No. Seeing Xianxia's death, both the 2 guards turned pale with fright. After they saw the sword light flash towards them under Jian Wushuang's control, their fright plateaued. Just 2 guards with no life-saving item like Xianxia. The sword light still looked powerful after crumbling the bronze palm and killing Xianxia. The power behind it diminished by 1/10, but it was the power of a Dao Master, which the 2 guards, as 2 eternal realm experts, could never withstand all the same. Damn! We're finished. The sword light stabbed the 2 guards at an amazing speed and pierced through their bodies one after the other, destroying their life cause. After that, the sword light finally disappeared in the air. Above the sea, with a wave of his hand, Jian Wushuang swiped the 3 dead men's treasures and interspatial rings and shattered their bodies. He sighed in relief after finishing and observed the token in his hand. Master said the first streak of sword essence was the weakest one among the 3 in this token. He narrowed his eyes while recalling Xianyi's words. The sword essence he wielded mimicked the first streak, however, it still crumbled Shi Yang's bronze palm, behind which was the power of a Dao master too. Obviously, the palm proved no match for his sword essence. With the first streak of sword essence being so powerful, what about the other 2 streaks of sword essence? How powerful can they be? The Sunrise Sword Emperor, who crafted those sword essences, how powerful could he be? Jian Wushuang wandered in those thoughts for a moment. Shaking his head, he stopped mulling over it and looked around while murmuring to himself, "I'd better leave this place now." He set off at once. An hour later after he left, an old figure appeared at this void. He none other than Elder He, the great Dao master of the Xia clan. He had a grave expression when he appeared. With chilling eyes, he scanned around and sensed the restrictions Xia Yang set and some remaining energy of the fight. Yes, right here, Second Master caught up with Jian Wushuang and battled him. He was less powerful than Jian Wushuang, but the 2 guards with him were the 6 steps of the Eternal Realm experts. Besides, he also had a life-saving item that Master gave him. It should have been easy for him to kill Jian Wushuang, however, he was the who perished. You're reading on free web novel, thanks. The elder stroked his chin and pondered quietly. The core disciples of Xia clan all had an object attached to their life in the clan. Therefore, the moment Xia Yang died, the clan knew it. Soon, Elder He realized it and rushed to the void where Xia Yang died. Could it be Jian Wushuang killed Second Master? But Jian Wushuang is just a divine realm expert without any background. How could he kill Second Master and his 2 guards? Besides, Master said that he sensed Second Master use that copper sheet. So why did Second Master die all the same? The elder frowned hard while trying to deduce the heart of the matter. Right then, he spotted a faint streak of sword essence gleaming in the air. This sword essence is so powerful. It's the king of the sword. Invincible. Even though most of its power dissipated, it is still sharp and fierce. The person who created it must be extremely formidable. In the eternal world, no more than 5 people can create such a powerful sword essence. Who exactly is this person? A chilling light flashed in the elder's eyes. No matter who you are, I won't let you escape. Above the vast sea, Jian Wushuang marched forward without delay, long sword straddled across his back. Having been far away from where he battled Xia Yang and sure that the Xia clansmen could not catch up, he finally rested on an uninhabited island. The Xia clan will be furious when they learn of Xia Yang's death. He thought to himself. Being the son of the master of the Xia clan and the brother of the #1 exceptional genius, as well as the youngest eternal realm expert in the eternal world, Xia Yang attained a high status in his clan. In no way would the clan not be enraged by his death. That was to say, Jian Wushuang offended the clan incredibly this time. He had to kill Xia Yang at that time, otherwise, it would have been him. He might be a negligible man to the Xia clan, but even a rabbit would bite if cornered. Since Xia Yang had wished to kill him, no matter how eminent this man was, he dared to fight back. This was what kind of a person Jian Wushuang was. Since there is a grudge between Xia Yang and me, the clan must have known that he had ventured out to kill me. When they discover his death, they will conclude that I'm the murderer. As it's too easy for them to trace my background, Master and the ancient sect may be involved in this matter. Jian Wushuang pondered with a curled lower lip. I have to inform Master of this in advance, buying him some time to prepare for it. Having made up his mind, Jian Wushuang connected with Xianxia, informing him of the whole thing. Xianxia remained cool after hearing Jian Wushuang's words. He responded quickly to him. I figured as much. Don't worry, no harm will befall on sect. But you should still be careful. And don't get yourself killed by the Xia clan. Having received his master's reply, Jian Wushuang sighed in great relief. He did not worry about himself. What concerned him more was that Xianxia and the ancient sect would be dragged into this matter. After getting the reassuring response from his master, the burden weighing his heart lifted. Master is mighty. Besides, senior brother is now one of the 18 masters of the Void Temple. Given this, the Xia clan will reconsider before they strike the ancient sect. I weep at my own weakness. Powerful enough to frighten the Xia clan, they dare not mutter even a single word against me for killing a scum like Xianxia. For a while, Jian Wushuang's complex feelings overwhelmed him, but he shook his head and ceased his pondering. By the way, as the second master of the Xia clan must be rich and have many treasures. Let me see if any of them can be of any use. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang quickly pulled out Xianxia's interspatial ring. He searched it meticulously. Chapter 8:26 Divergent Bloodstones. After a careful check, Jian Wushuang was surprised by what he had found in Xianxia's interspatial ring. The second master of the Xia clan is indeed rich. He has 500 million divine gems in his ring. Jian Wushuang let out a low cry. In the eternal world, the total assets of an average Dao master would be about 1 billion divine gems. It was such a great number that when the 3 magnates in the firmament territory were asked to give out this amount of divine gems, they were distressed. However, as a divine realm expert, Xia clan had possessed 500 million divine gems, which was amazing. Apart from the divine gems, Jian Wushuang also found many treasures in Xianxia's interspatial ring, including some natural treasures, many of which he did not recognize. Those things could also be of great value. Besides those, he also found some superior and precious secret skills. Though there was not a great number of them, they were worth a lot all the same. After a count, Jian Wushuang estimated that the value of Xianxia's interspatial ring was as much as the total assets of a Dao master. Among all the treasures in the ring, 3 of them held the most value. The first one was the purple saber that Xianxia had used to battle Jian Wushuang in the blood battle arena. The saber was, in fact, an emperor weapon, a weapon that would be valued even by a Dao master. However, to Jian Wushuang, it was useless, thus he decided to exchange it for some other treasures or divine gems when it was necessary. The second treasure was a mysterious scroll. The scroll looked ancient, and from it, Jian Wushuang sensed a trace of terrifying sword essence. At first glance, Jian Wushuang had a feeling that the scroll would be very useful to him in cultivating the sword principle someday. Without a doubt, he knew the scroll was a rare treasure related to sword principle. To his disappointment, there was a complicated restriction on the scroll preventing him from opening it. He figured that it must be very hard to open it otherwise. Xianxia would have managed to do so, as it had been in his possession for some time. If he was unable, there would have been many restriction makers in his clan to help him. Therefore, if the restriction on the scroll could have been removed, any one of them would have done so. This scroll is unusual. I can't open it now, but Master is skillful and excellent in refining weapons, elixirs, and making puppets, as well as formations. When I return back to the sect, I can ask him for help. He may know how to open it. Jian Wushuang thought. Thinking of this, he put the scroll away and turned to the last one of the 3 most precious treasures. He was very happy with what he saw. Among the 3 treasures, this one surprised even more than the others. This treasure was called the Divergent Bloodstone. The Divergent Bloodstone is a rare treasure which can attack people's consciousness. He had gotten the information from inside the Divergent Bloodstone. More accurately, the Divergent Bloodstone was a magic weapon made by human beings. However, it was quite unique. Like other magic weapons, the Divergent Bloodstone could greatly increase people's offensive power, but the power was also related to consciousness attacks. This kind of attack could damage an opponent's consciousness and potentially could completely destroy it. There were also some other skills in the eternal world that could affect people's consciousness, such as illusion skill, but those skills could only bewilder and cause people to hallucinate. They would not actually harm their consciousness. Therefore, they were not actually attacks on the consciousness. The skills that could attack people's consciousness were extremely rare in the eternal world. The odds of finding someone who knew of such skills was 1 in a million. After all, consciousness was too abstruse, and only by obscure means could an expert create it. Therefore, consciousness attacks were rarely seen in that world. For those who mastered consciousness attacks, the divergent bloodstone was of great use, but for those who had not, it would be rendered useless. The reason why Jian Wushuang was so happy when he saw the divergent bloodstone was that he had mastered one of the consciousness attacking skills. The mind-controlling secret skill, one of the 3 great secret skills of the ancient god clan. A skill which was designed as an attack on the consciousness. Back when he was still learning the skill in the ancient god clan, he had tried to use it several times. But, because of his low status as a divine realm expert at that time, he was unable to practice it at a higher level. As a result, even if he displayed the skill with all his power, it would have little effect on the 3 or 4 steps experts. As for those experts above 5 steps, as long as their consciousnesses were not damaged or they were not in a panic, they would be unaffected by the mind-controlling secret skill even if they did not anticipate the attack. As I grow stronger, the opponents I meet are also more powerful, and most of them are 5 and even 6 steps experts. In light of this, I can hardly use mind-controlling secret skill to battle them. But now, with the help of the divergent bloodstone, that's all changed. Jian Wushuang's eyes were full of joy. This stone would greatly enhance his consciousness attack. The mind-controlling secret skill would be much more powerful now that it will be supported by the divergent bloodstone. Without hesitation, Jian Wushuang started binding the stone. He met no resistance during the process, and the stone quickly merged into his body. Mind-controlling secret skill. He attempted to display mind-controlling secret skill again. A magic power flowed through the divergent bloodstone and then swept over him. Because he did not use the skill on a human being, he could not see the specific effect, but he could tell it was 10 times more powerful than before. That was to say, now, this skill could not only affect the 3 and 4 steps experts but also the 6 steps experts. Chapter 8:27. Bloodhades Prefecture. With the consciousness attack being an unusual method, it will definitely kill an opponent if I use this attack unexpectedly. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. As for the 3 most precious treasures in Xianxia's interspatial ring, he had only had use for the divergent bloodstone at that time. Killing Xianxia makes me the Xia clan's target and will bring me many troubles. However, I have profited significantly from it. Jian Wushuang smiled when thinking of this. He then began to search Xianxia's guards' interspatial rings. The 2 guards were experts in the 6 steps of the Eternal Realm and had always been with Xianxia, so they were also wealthy, but Jian Wushuang found nothing in the rings that could be of his use. He did not set off again until he had regained all his power. He then left the island to the Tang of the East. As his destination was not far from the Circis Island, he finally got out of the vast sea below him and arrived there 10 days later. As the most ancient and once most powerful country, Tang of the East was immense. The 21 large prefectures in the Tang dynasty that Jian Wushuang had once visited were established by Emperor Xiao, based in fact on the Tang of the East. The difference being that Tang of the East had 36 prefectures in its territory. Each of 36 prefectures was 10 times larger than the firmament territory. Jian Wushuang first arrived in the Bloodhades prefecture. Though it was only a prefecture, the Bloodhades prefecture was autonomous as a country. Countless clans here, both big and small, were embroiled in continuous conflict. At the heart of the prefecture was the Bloodhades city. It was a big city full of towering and splendid palaces and pavilions. Some of them were even floating magnificently in the air all the time. The streets there bustled with activity. Though this country was not as prosperous as it once was, it was still flourishing. The Tang dynasty Emperor Xiao established in the ancient world is a country of death, but this Tang of the East is on the opposite. Jian Wushuang was lost in thought while walking on the streets in the Bloodhades city. A moment later, he stepped into a shop. He then stepped into a secret chamber in the shop, sat down, and started reading information on this country. The information was no more detailed than what he had already known, except that there was a simple introduction on all the camps and forces of the country on it. Officially, the imperial house under Empress Lung's control was still in charge of this country, but beneath the surface, a tension was building nationwide. The 6 big clans headed by the Xia clan, whose leaders had secretly done many things behind the emperor's back, would not completely break their relationships with him. There seemed to be something they feared. The same was true of the mansion masters of the 36 prefectures. They respected the imperial house publicly, but behind closed doors, they all nurtured their own selfish intentions. Besides this, fierce battles had broken out between the Tang of the East and its three neighboring countries, the West Paradise, South Mountain Kingdom, and North Sea Kingdom. This country is suffering domestic troubles and foreign invasions. Who would have thought that a country of such prosperity could fall to this point? Jian Wushuang sighed while reading this. However, he did not care about the fate of this country. What really concerned him was Lang Rushuang. Lin Wan has said that the icy heart poison has gone deeper into Lang Rushuang's body and that if she can't get treated soon, she may meet a bad end. Therefore, I must find her as soon as possible and stop her from getting worse. He pondered. He already had a plan: remove the poison in her body with his heavenly creation skill. At the same time, he was afraid that he would be unable to see her as he was only a divine realm expert and she was a distinguished person who had constantly stayed in her palace. His only chance came to him very soon. Royal Guard. He stared at the three words with hope in his eyes. Royal Guard was an army of elites who were responsible for public security inside and outside of the imperial palace. Its functions were similar to that of the Circis army on Circis Island. However, it was larger size than Circis army. After all, Circis army was only responsible for the safety of a small island, while the Royal Guard were responsible for an entire city. There were 10,000 people in the former, but the Royal Guard was 20 times larger than that. The weakest ones among both groups were superior divine realm expert. However, those in Royal Guard were selected from the most outstanding people in the 36 prefectures in the Tang of the East. Most of them were the best of the best and could even battle the strongest divine realm experts. Every 100 years, some new members from across the nation would be selected to join the Royal Guard. When Jian Wushuang arrived in the country, it was just 3 months before the selection date. When that day came, the people in the Bloodhaid city who wanted to join the Royal Guard would gather outside the city. After the first round of selecting, the weaker ones would be eliminated, and the stronger ones would be taken into the royal palace and progressed to a further test. Those who made it to the end of the selection could join the Royal Guard. Since I've just arrived on this land and have not built up any relations, I can't make any accomplishment with my current power now. The Royal Guard defends the imperial palace and is full of experts. It might be a good shelter for me. After I join it, I can improve my power while finding a way to see Lang Rushuang again. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists and was excited about his decision. On the same day, he signed up for the Royal Guard at the registry. Considering that he had killed Xianxia and the Xia clan was looking for him everywhere, he used a new name when he signed up for registration. That new name was Blood Mountain. He named himself after the Blood Mountain sword. After that, he found a residence in the city and waited for the selection date to come. Chapter 8:28 Preliminary. 3 months later, outside the Bloodhaid city. It was the day on which the Royal Guard would recruit new members. Numerous superior divine realm experts rushed there from all corners of the Bloodhaid's prefecture. As the prefecture was a vast land full of experts and the Royal Guard was the most elite troop with a nice remuneration in the country, a great number of experts were gathered outside the Bloodhaid city. As a result, when Jian Wushuang arrived there, he could see a sea of faces. The amount of people there was estimated to be over 100,000. There are so many people. Though he had expected there to be a crowd, he was still amazed by the scene. 100,000 superior divine realm experts. More than all such experts in the firmament territory adding together, this was the turnout of candidates for a trial in the Bloodhaid's prefecture. As one of them, Jian Wushuang waited silently at the edge of the crowd. In the void above the crowd were many sergeants in scarlet armors. Their aura was chilling. They were the soldiers of the Bloodhaid's prefecture. A well-built tall man and a blue-haired lady acted as their leaders. These two were the commanders of the prefecture. "This is a huge crowd," said the tall man to the blue-haired lady while looking downwards. "Yes, just as the previous years. Though people know there is a strict standard to join the Royal Guard, they still come here in droves. The participants standing before us are over 100,000, but no more than 50 of them will make it to the end," the lady responded. "You're reading on free web novel, thanks." "I agree," the tall man nodded and added, "though the ordinary soldiers in the Royal Guard are superior divine realm experts, They are the elite among them, as powerful as the top divine realm experts. The soldiers of our prefecture are elites too, evenly matched to the Circis army of the Circis Island, but they are inferior to the Royal Guard.
You're right.
But now it's time to start the selection. The blue-haired lady spoke.
The man observed the sky and nodded. He looked toward the crowd as he shouted, "Attention, everybody!"
His dignified voice immediately silenced the crowd. All participants stood to attention as they looked at the man in awe. Listen up, many of you will not be able to join the Royal Guard, the best troop in the country. Even the most ordinary soldier in the Royal Guard is chosen through a strenuous selection process, means that only 1 in every 1,000 will make it. Next, you'll have to go through the preliminary round held by our Bloodhades prefecture.
Get ready.
The man's booming voice reverberated throughout the area. On hearing his voice, the superior divine realm experts among the crowd all took a deep breath to reach their peak. In a moment, they prepared themselves for anything.
Let's begin.
A sharp light escaped the man's eyes as he shouted. Just then, an overwhelming force swept away from him. It pressed the experts standing below him like a huge mountain on their shoulders. All the experts looked as though they were struck by lightning. Puff! 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 More than half of them could not resist coughing up a mouthful of blood and fell to their knees with a pale face under the pressure of the force. As for those who remained standing, their face turned red with pain, and they were struggling to keep their balance.
Is this an aura suppression?
Among the crowd, Jian Wushuang was also under the man's pressing aura. As soon as he felt the aura, he knew that the tall man was a top 6 steps expert. An expert of such strength, if he was to unleash the full power of his aura, he could explode a normal superior divine realm expert in an instant. Though the tall man was trying to suppress 100,000 people at the same time, his aura was still unbearable to many experts. Just in a short time, more than half of the experts had collapsed under the man's aura. Though the aura was powerful, Jian Wushuang was strong enough to bear it. He might be only a divine realm expert, but he was able to battle a 6 steps of the eternal realm expert. Even if all the power of the tall man's aura was on him, he would not be afraid. All the superior divine realm experts struggled to hold on under the man's aura as time went by. The aura grew stronger, bringing the experts to their breaking points. One after another, many experts tumbled to the ground, some fell to their knees, and within a short time, less than 800 people remained standing.
Just then,
the blue-haired lady finally spoke up. That's enough. On hearing this, the tall man raised his eyebrows and restrained his aura. The struggling experts immediately felt the suppressing force on them disperse, and they all let out a sigh of relief, breathing heavily. Right then, a scarlet-armored soldier walked to the tall man and reported to him. Commander, among all the participants, 680 of them made it to the end standing under your aura. That's really a small number, isn't it? The tall man frowned. Not bad actually. In the previous years, less than 600 of the participants made it to the end. The blue-haired lady replied with a smile. All right, the tall man turned to the soldier and ordered, have those 680 people stay and tell everyone else to go back where they come from. They will not be able to join the Royal Guard as they couldn't even pass the preliminary.
Yes, sir.
The soldier left to give the order. As the order reached the participants, those who were informed that they did not pass the preliminary were unwilling to accept the results. However, no matter how reluctant they had to wait another 100 years for the next selection of the Royal Guard. With most of the participants leaving, the place became more spacious and relaxed. Chapter 829, the second round of the selection. In the open space stood the 680 experts who had passed the preliminary test.
Jian Wushuang was among them.
The tall man stood above the void, looking down at them saying, "It's impressive that you survived under my aura, however, don't get too excited. You have simply passed the first round and the following tests will be far more difficult. Next, I'll take you to one of the Royal Guard's campsites, and you'll have to battle the participants from other prefectures who have passed the preliminaries there. The winners of these battles will be able to join the Royal Guard." After saying this, the man turned to the blue-haired lady and asked, "Is the wormhole ready?"
Yes. The lady nodded.
It has cost us so many divine gems to set up this wormhole in order to transport these people.
The tall man sighed. We have no other choice.
It would take us several years to get there on foot with those participants following. That's assuming that we don't encounter any unexpected trouble on the way, said the lady with a smile.
Right. Let's open the wormhole.
I'll personally take those people to the campsite.
The tall man ended the talking.
Soon, he led those participants to a huge wormhole, which could transport 100 people at a time. The 680 participants and some experts of the Bloodhades Prefecture were transported to the campsite in 7 separate batches. The campsite lay among endless ancient mountains. When they arrived, many people from other prefectures were already waiting there. The preliminary that was held in the Bloodhades Prefecture was aimed at eliminating the weaker participants. In the following rounds, all superior divine realm experts from the 36 prefectures who had passed the preliminary would have to take the following tests together. Those who had passed the preliminary of the Bloodhades Prefecture numbered around 680. The number from each prefecture was roughly the same. In total, there would be nearly 30,000 participants included in the following rounds. Moreover, all those candidates were obviously powerful, as they had passed the preliminary. Standing in the crowd with other participants from the Bloodhades Prefecture, Jian Wushuang could not help pondering. The preliminary was an aura suppression and ended so quick. What will the second round of elimination be? As he was lost in thought, a group of people flooded toward them in a gold light from the void not far away. They moved fast in a large group with an overwhelming aura. When they got closer, Jian Wushuang could see that they were, in fact, a group of soldiers in gold armor. Each guard's armor was engraved with the golden dragon mark. They are the royal guards. They are the royal guards. How powerful their auras are. Those soldiers are in the superior divine realm just like us, but I can tell that every one of them is much stronger than we are. Staring at the gold-armored soldiers, the participants were excited and their eyes sparkled. Royal Guard, the strongest and most elite troop in the Tang of the East. To be a member of this troop is what had driven all those participants to the campsite. Are they the Royal Guards? Jian Wushuang looked at the golden-armored soldiers. He could feel an overbearing aura from them. Among those soldiers, he found that most of them were in the divine realm while some of them were in the eternal realm. He even managed to sense some powerful auras, which he knew he had to take seriously. Just as I have heard, the Royal Guard really does have some experts. Jian Wushuang gasped in admiration. With his current power, he could battle as 6 steps of the eternal realm expert. In view of this, he could be among the stronger ones in the Royal Guard, though not among the elite of them. About 1,000 people of the Royal Guard were present in the campsite, and their leader was a beautiful young lady, who was also dressed in gold armor. However, she had a killing intent between her eyebrows. Her eyes were chilling, her aura overbearing. The lady greeted the commanders of each of the 36 prefectures before casting a cold eye over the 30,000 participants. In an icy voice, she spoke up. Listen up, only 1,000 of you will be able to join in our troop. That's to say, the rest of you will be eliminated. Her words electrified the participants. Soon, the place was in an uproar. These participants had all passed the preliminary held by their prefectures, which had fully demonstrated their power. However, only 1,000 of them will eventually be able to join the Royal Guard. Too harsh. The conditions of joining the Guard were indeed very harsh. The following tests are very simple. The lady's deep voice echoed once more. We'll test your power. Wherever in the Tang of the East or the Eternal World, power speaks louder than anything. It's the same in our Royal Guard. So, the following tests are aimed at finding the most powerful 1,000 among you. By having you battle each other. You are now standing in a special campsite of our Royal Guard, and a restriction has been created for it. As the lady's voice fell, a faint gold halo suddenly rose up, surrounded the campsite and everyone in it. This restriction is created by an excellent formation maker. Inside it, you can fight, free of the fear that you'll be killed, because this restriction will protect your life by transporting you out of it before you get killed. However, being transported out also means that you're eliminated. And what you are required to do is to battle each other within the restriction. Just don't use the attacker or life-saving skill that uses the power of others. You can use any other means, until only 1,000 of you remain in the restriction. Do you understand?" The lady looked around after saying those words.